Really, Facebook Live. I'm trying to make sure it be working, man, because it'd be messing up. Um, 1 second. Set up live streaming. There we go. Boom. Sometimes you just gotta, you know what I'm saying? Just gotta make it happen, guys. All right. Hey, what's up, beautiful people? I know you guys like watching me fiddle around with the technology as we get started, but I'm coming to you from the mountains, so I gotta make sure things are working smooth. But per the usual, it's Friday, Financial Friday, our favorite day and time of the week because we get to talk to you guys. Gentlemen, what's up?
What's
Everything's
up, Cam?
good, man. Everything's
Yeah.
good. I always have to remember we said black is slimming. I don't know if y'all see G over there, man. G's always making me and Cam look bad, but it's all good, G. How you doing, G? How you feeling?
I feel great. I feel great. My oldest is back home from college for the summer, so he got me back in the gym. I feel like I'm 22 again.
Oh, I see that.
He
I
feels
see
like
that.
$1 million.
Good to see you guys, man.
Good, man. So as we get started, people, for those of you who are joining us kind of for the first time, two things. So first thing is anything we say is our opinion only. All right. Don't go run and sell anything or buy anything because you're like, oh, Cam, Rico, and Glenn said so. I will not take responsibility. I will only laugh at you because I gave you this disclaimer. um, Second thing, the way we rock around here is every week one of us will pick 3 articles and we will talk about those articles. It's financial news, real estate, money, investments, whatever have you, whatever going on in the financial world that we think is kind of important to talk about and discuss. Okay. We do highly encourage comments, questions, put it in the chat. We'll drop it on the screen. We'll talk about it. We love the interaction. It just makes us even better for you and for everybody. So as we get started, I'm going to pull up the first article. So this week was mine. So first of all, how'd you guys feel about the articles that I sent?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just noticed that Cam's name is Canyon Camp, bro. Anyway, I'm sorry. It's an inside thing, guys. The articles were phenomenal. I think it's wide ranging. I'm really excited because I think this week's pick, people are gonna relate no matter because I feel maybe sometimes we dive super deep into the business. I know, guys, I love it, but not everybody loves it. Shout out to Cam for giving a wide range of
Mhm.
articles. This touches everybody. That's what I'm
Yeah.
really excited about.
I tried. G, what you think? What you think, G?
Now the same one. I feel like one of the articles was for me in particular, but
What? Well, I read it and I said, G's gonna like
yeah,
this.
yeah, 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 yeah. But aside from that, I felt like like we often talk about family. I think that those that have family or are part of family or whatever, I think that they'll be able to like Rico had mentioned, they'll be able to relate in some aspect because how things are going in the market. This particular or one in particular topic that we'll talk about will most people will be able to relate to.
For sure. Okay, so let me pull this up. So the first article we're going to talk about is stocks rise as investors await debt deal. AI hype lifts tech. This is for G.
AI.
AI. All right, AI, and then shout out to Asif AI podcast.
Yes,
But
yes.
so I chose this article. Anybody who's paying the minute amount of attention to what's going on in stocks right now. First of all, Nvidia had a 24% jump. And here's the thing. So not only did they have a 24% jump like in the last 48 hours, if you look back, I was telling G this yesterday. If you look back to what they wore back in October 10th of 2022, they
Mhm.
were $98.
Yeah.
Now they trading over 300.
And it's crazy because back in January, February, the three of us we were specifically looking at that. And I was just like, man, this is yeah, sometimes you gotta go with your gut.
You got to go with the gut.
Mhm.
And so that's why I thought this was important to talk about. So that's kind of the first hitter. Let's get it out. Let's get that one out the way. The second thing is a lot of people are waiting to find out what's going to happen with the debt ceiling. Okay. So those of you that don't know, the United States, we are like the highest debt holder in the world. we owe money to everybody. Rico likes laughing about it. Oh look, hey, shout out to Irvin who read the market a little while ago and got us from the video.
Yes, sir. Shout out to Irvin.
But yeah, so the debt ceiling, you know, because we have so much debt, pretty much what the debt ceiling is, the United States is deciding whether they want to allow us to take on more debt. So that's what they're deciding. That's what the debt ceiling is. If they decide not to raise the debt ceiling, that is going to put us in some predicament. But if they decide to write, it's going to put us in another predicament because costs of goods, costs of labor are obviously going up. And with everything going on in the world right now, we're doing a lot of things to maneuver in a space of preparation. And obviously preparation costs money. And so it'll be interesting to see what happens. But as it stands this week, in a general sense, was actually relatively good when it comes to the market and kind of the gains. So the NASDAQ rallied to close 1.7% higher on Thursday. Obviously, NVIDIA being it's such a giant in the stock market space, especially in NASDAQ, that obviously helped that big old bump. Marvel Technology stock rose more than 30% on Friday as the chip maker joined NVIDIA in sharing positive artificial intelligence news. So one of the things that really helped NVIDIA kind of bolster overnight was how their call went, where they talked about AI, they talked about their projections, they talked about how they were doing in general, and pretty much people were just like, how could this not be a win? Mm-hmm. So I'm a park there. and how did y'all feel about this article? You know, this was actually, I think, one of G's picks on our like fantasy stock pick thing that him and Rico and I do a couple months ago. So G, what you got?
Yeah, so when I seen the NVIDIA headlines in there, I was just like, okay, cool. I can't wait to dig into this. So for me, it doesn't surprise me based off of the conversation you and I had yesterday, going back 3 months when me, you, and Rico were kind of talking and picking kind of those stocks. It doesn't surprise me because one thing that's not going away is AI, right? Like more people are now starting to really kind of either jump on the bandwagon or just see a lot of it or try to utilize it and get experience. And I remember Jeremiah doing a mastermind on prompt engineering, right? And while everybody, you know, thinks that they may be able to just utilize AI, it's going to require a skill set to a degree, right? I was talking to my 19-year-old and I was like, hey, number one, have you used AI already? And then two, like, you know, what are your thoughts on it? And so for me, someone who is interested in NVIDIA, interested in AI overall, I think someone to watch out with. You were talking about Marvel Tech.
Yeah.
That's a stock that I'll be watching, especially with them, you know, kind of like joining arms with NVIDIA. Because like I said, AI is not going away. Now, again, moving forward, we do have to be very, very careful on how we utilize AI. But for the most part, a lot of the companies, a lot of the world is finding ways of how they can incorporate AI into their business models. And so, and if you're not, you know, you're going to be left behind significantly. So that was my thoughts on that one in particular. So, Rico, what you got, man?
First and foremost, G, congratulations again. Obviously, my man, he's been betting on AI, of course, and it's not going anywhere.
He really has.
I think that, well, I mean, this article obviously shows it. You know, NVIDIA is growing. I got somebody that texted me today and thanked me for giving them the plug. I gave them 5 stock picks probably about a month and a half ago, and they're up 4,500. I think it was 3,500 on one and then 4,500 on the other off the stock picks. You're welcome. You know, pretty soon we'll be like my man, the master.
I'm gonna need some of that percentage.
Put 7s if I made you money. But you know, let's talk about something. So if I'm focused, what does this mean? Let's make it relatable, right? What does all this mean? What this means is that, like G said, AI is going to continue to grow. Cam said that if you focus on the business and understanding the way that it intertwines or interlocks with different industries, it's growing, and it's going to continue to grow. So what do I do? You guys know I'm a commodities guy. Microchips have now started to become a commodity because it's a way of life. Everything that we do involves them, right? And so let's get into the actual structure or the material that we build the microchips out of and invest in those companies.
Facts.
That's the way to play it. If you know that NVIDIA is growing, what's supplying the raw material to NVIDIA to manufacture their chips? That's the next step, right? So if we see that this is growing, let's go a step before that. And who's supplying NVIDIA with the raw materials, right? With the metal that's with the lithium, with the metal, other metals that are helping to create the microchips. And that's where you'll see the biggest increase next. Go there, because maybe it's not flourishing now, but I promise you they're on the bubble, because not too much longer, the profits that NVIDIA is seeing, it's gonna go back that way, right? Because it's going to be volumetrically, they're going to be ordering more materials. So the shares of those companies are going to increase. So this is how I think about things, right? In a backwards engineering phase. So if NVIDIA is growing, but man, NVIDIA is way too expensive for me to buy into. Okay, so let me go to the company that's supplying them with the raw material.
Right.
Maybe I can afford their shares. And then as the profits, right, as that wave just starts to go across the entire logistical line, I'm going to make money. But I just got to get to the place to where I can afford. So if I go back to the supplier of the raw material, right, commodities, and I can buy 20 shares of theirs where I can only buy 0.5 shares of NVIDIA, right? I'm going to make money back here. But it all just takes with being strategically, your thought process has to be strategical. And then you have to be tactical about going and actually doing it and executing. It's not about creating a strategy and a plan, but then not implementing or executing that plan. You got to go execute it. So that's my thoughts on this, man. This is all good news. Debt ceiling being what the debt ceiling is. A lot of people are really, really worried, which is not saying that there's no need to be, but let me tell you something. There's no country, China, we owe the most to, obviously. There's no country, no matter what they do, the BRIC nations, no matter how they do and how they do it, no one wants to see America fall. Why? Because their incomes are directly linked to imports and exports from America. Right? Or American-based businesses. And so with that being said, understand that these people want to see us progress. You could be scared. The deal is going to get done. Right? We're just going to increase it. Now stuff's going to increase. You're going to have to pay more for stuff. That's just what's going to happen. But you don't have to worry about these other countries calling note, because they still need America. Now, is that for how long that is, or how they're working towards not needing us? That's why the plans have been implemented, right? But at this point in time right now, they still need us. So that's where we're at.
So we're safe. We're safe as long as they need us. Bet.
Take advantage now while you can.
All right. So the next one I'm gonna bring up, since we're talking about stocks, is the Warren Buffett article.
My God.
Man.
And I know you put this one in there to just like mess with me.
So this served two purposes, actually. So one, it was to mess with you, and two, it was and this was something me and G were talking about yesterday, was I think we get so concentrated on the wins that we don't talk about the L's, and I don't say losses, because I say lessons, right? Especially when you do what we do, is everybody talks about the wins. Like, let's just be honest, you don't win consistently unless you've also in turn lost a little bit and learned the lesson from it. So pretty much what this article talks about is that Warren Buffett. What is it? The magician from Omaha. What's it called?
He is the wizard, right?
The wizard.
Yeah, the Wizard of Omaha.
The Wizard of Omaha. If you don't know him, get to know him. We're gonna have a T-shirt coming out soon. Rico, I gotta show you the design. You're gonna love it. I built it. And so me and G talked about it yesterday. But that being said, everybody makes mistakes. It doesn't matter how good you are at what you do, especially when it comes to business and stocks. No matter how positive you think things are going to be, at the end of the day, humans are humans, things happen, and sometimes things just don't go your way. And that was one of the discussions that Warren Buffett, who is the CEO of Berkshire Hathaway, had with his investors, when he had his call recently, was because he bought a company back in 2020. It was Precision Cast Parts Corp, and they bought it for 32 billion. Back in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
And so this past year they lost 11 billion because of that investment. And one of the things that I respect about Warren Buffett, and then we were just talking about that, Rico, was that like he told his investors, he's like, "Yo, I messed up." He's like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you somebody showed me, warped investment, or someone showed me, wrong numbers. Like literally, I just was overly optimistic. And once again, there are rules when you are investing in the stock market. And Warren Buffett even says that he went against one of his own rules, was don't get emotional.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't strictly say I went against my rules, but he literally said the decision was too emotional because he was too optimistic about their outlook. And one of the things you'll hear a lot of people say when it comes to stocks is do not get emotional. You pay attention to the numbers, you pay attention to the facts of what's going on, because at the end of the day, that's what it really is. Okay. So I'm gonna park it right there.
Go ahead.
So as I was reading this article, two things kind of stood out to me. Number one, the greats. And then number two was leadership, right? And so you kind of alluded to it earlier, but I wrote down earlier when I was reading this is that the greats don't always win every game. However, the greats win the long game.
Facts.
Right? And so can you do me a favor? Can you go all the way up to the title? I just want to highlight that $11 billion. So Warren Buffett makes mistakes too, right? This one cost $11 billion. And so the reason why I wanted you to highlight that, going back to what I was just saying, and to tie it into the leadership piece, one of the things that I always appreciate about Warren Buffett is his ability to lead. And not only that, but when he take ownership of his mistakes, right? Because leaders acknowledge when they make mistakes, even if it costs them $11 billion. Now, in the article, while it kind of highlights the $11 billion loss, like you mentioned, in 2016, Berkshire Hathaway, acquired the aerospace manufacturer for $30 billion. However, in the article, it also mentions that in 2020, their earnings was $42.5 billion. Right. So when you look at the numbers, it's essentially still a win. While it is highlighting that it cost $11 billion, it still was a profit.
Yeah.
Right. And so so that was something that really stood out to me in this particular article, is that while it's highlighting about the loss, in reality, it was still a win. But not only that, like I said, when it comes to investing, when it comes to making decisions as a leader, one of the key things is that you will make mistakes. And when you do, acknowledge to your shareholders, acknowledge to your business partners, etc. With that. So I enjoyed reading this one here.
Classic L3 moment for Warren Buffett. Shameless plug.
Yeah.
Right? Life, love, and leadership.
Yes.
If you don't know what I'm talking about, get hip to it. This is what I will say. Obviously, like you said, classic leadership. I love both you guys' points. Classic leadership, the ability to be honest, right? I want somebody to take notice, though, of something. Buffett strategically announced this years later. Why did he do that? He did that because if I announced it at that time period, what does it do? It loses confidence in Berkshire Hathaway stock. It loses confidence in my ability to lead, right? It's not that I'm not going to tell you, but it's the timing in which I tell you.
Right.
I'll be honest about things, but I need to let you know in a strategic manner. I don't tell you when you can't handle it, right? It's like when we talk about babies, right? The information, when you're feeding a baby, you don't give a baby steak, you give it milk. So I wanted to notice that. That's another very, very keen piece here of leadership. He strategically announced it years later. Why? He didn't want to overly affect the price of the stock, right? It would have dropped significantly, even worse if they said that he lost 11 billion. Imagine the confidence of everyone else in that stock. It would have dropped, right? Berkshire Hathaway itself, the vote of confidence, right? So I like that he's honest, but he strategically laid the information out when it was okay to lay it out. This
Yeah.
is man, this is like classic warfare right here, man. You really got to pay attention to the way he laid everything out. Um, you know, and then it's still I like also that he stated in the article, it doesn't negate the overall long-term
Yep.
investment value of it, right? He
Mhm.
said, I got overly optimistic about the front end to see if I was going to see that ROI come back quicker. But he said that it doesn't negate the fact that this is a sound investment. And overall, I mean, he's 92, so he's like, I won't be here to see it. But overall, Berkshire Hathaway, right, our
Mhm.
shareholders, they're going to reap the benefits of this investment.
Right.
Mhm.
So not only is he thinking about the right now, what he shows there is he did calculated,
Yeah.
right, thought process of what to invest in that not only it wasn't going to benefit him, he's very old, right? He's not going to be, and there's I got a question when I get done with this, but he's extremely old. So he knows he may not see it, but I want to put the shareholders, which he holds an annual meeting every year, and they say, even though the shareholders, the amount grows, it's still like family. He
Mhm.
still shows up. Him and Charlie Munger still show up, right? And so he was thinking about that extended family and what would it do for them. And so I tip my hat to him on that one. You guys know I love Warren Buffett. That's the reason why I got into investments. Let me say this. What will the world do, but especially Berkshire Hathaway, what will they do when Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger pass? Will they turn to AI? Will they turn over the picks to Ray Dalio, who is about 10 to 15 years younger than both of them? He's about 10, 12 years younger than them. Will they go to Ray Dalio? What will they do? That's the question. What will they do when Buffett and Munger pass? Where do those decisions come from then?
So here are my thoughts on this. Number one, I think is a combination of both AI and Ray Dalio. That is
Okay.
to me, it's a super smart move, especially as we were just kind of talking about AI. I also think that Warren Buffett has some key people that have been around him for decades,
Mhm.
True.
and so the amount of time that was spent while they're not Warren Buffett, I think that he has people. Not I think he has people around him that think like him because he's taught them over the last few decades.
Mhm.
Now, so I don't see a big dip in, again, while you can't replace Warren Buffett, I don't foresee a significant dip in Berkshire Hathaway
Okay.
for those reasons, right? Because they have innovative minds, innovative thinkers. You incorporate AI into that, or because they have a certain skill set of knowledge wise, they'll be able to adapt, make small adjustments that can significantly impact the futures of their investments and their partnerships and things like that.
What you think, Cam?
I'm interested to see what's going to happen. I think, kind of like G said, it'll probably be a combination of both. I'm sure there's an accession plan in order as far as how to have something tapped into of some sort. But at the end of the day, it also depends on what the market landscape looks like at that point.
I agree.
Mhm.
I think that if you didn't know Dalio and Buffett, they're very close friends,
Mhm.
right? Dalio says he looks up to Buffett. Buffett says if it wasn't him or Munger, then it would be it's Dalio, right?
Yep.
You guys don't know who Ray Dalio. We don't have time, but look him up. Principles, right? Look him up. And I would say that because Dalio's figured out technologically wise how to duplicate himself,
Mhm.
right? So
Mhm.
that's why I said that. Okay, all good, man. Sorry, I had to throw that out there. I was like, dang, what? Anyway, I
Yeah,
know
I would
we're
love
short
to
on
hear.
time. Forgive me.
Yeah, I know. On the in the comments, I would love to. If you guys are rewatching this, definitely chime in on the comments because I'll
For
go
sure.
back and rewatch that or reread them.
Yep. So before we move on, I know because we can't see him on here, but so Instagram, Dom said me and Melissa were just talking about this in the video, Marvel AMD. Dom also said that's fact stating 10 steps ahead when you were talking about, thinking is so on and so forth.
Sure.
So that's what I got right now. But so last article, Disney, everybody's favorite magical place.
Family.
So before we go into this article, one more disclaimer: we don't talk politics here. However, politics play a huge part in what happens in the world, and especially when it comes
I'm
to
getting on
finance,
somebody's butt today.
especially when it comes to finances. So,
Yeah.
so Disney still has plans to spend billions in Florida despite its battle with DeSantis. Okay. So pretty much what happened is that Disney was investing 17 billion into building up a newer part of Florida. Okay, and then what happened is uh, the governor of Florida, DeSantis, is currently has a bill controversial to a lot of people that's going through the state government as it stands. It's called the "Don't Say Gay" rule. Okay, and so pretty much it's trying to limit using that word in schools. Now Disney, as we all know, is very big on LGBTQ, very big on rights for everybody, and so they pretty much don't agree with it, and so they kicked back publicly and said we don't agree with it. And so because of that, they now feel as though DeSantis is trying to stop them from building this area inside the state. And so this is kind of one of those like classic things where like at the end of the day, money's money. Who cares what people say? But this is where you start to mix like what are the morals of one company versus the arena they're trying to play in, and it can affect them financially.
I want to, hey, Cam, I want to hear Rico's take on this.
Yeah. I came with the heat today, boys.
He did. Cam, put us to the regular. I don't even need that. I don't even need the article. We can come back to the article. I'm gonna make.
I mean, we don't really need the article. There's not a lot of graphs and figures in it.
I don't get political, but DeSantis is an idiot. This is why I say this. And it's not about. I don't care about politics. Anytime, and this is linked as well to the immigration law that he just passed as well. 800,000 immigrants that live in Florida. You are totally disrupting the financial stability of your state.
Facts.
Okay? You then turn around and poke at the mouse.
Yep.
That's not smart. And the reason I say that, he's like, I don't care. I'm not. Listen, it's jobs for your constituents.
Facts.
Disney is the largest company dang near in Florida. It has to be.
Yeah.
I mean, it employs so many people. They pump so much money into the Orlando area. Orlando is a metropolis, right?
Yeah.
Orlando never has to worry, but man, they build new basketball stadiums every 2 or 3 years.
They got apartments for their employees.
That's dumped into Orlando, and they're horrible. But this is the thing that I'm saying. As DeSantis, as someone that's he has a presidential bid now, he filled his paperwork out. He's reaching for a certain demographic.
Facts.
It's very dangerous because if you don't win and you've done all this, you've alienated yourself. And what you've done is you've removed money away from Disney. And in that article, Disney said that they're still gonna invest money.
Yeah, we don't care.
They're still investing money. They're still coming, and they're still and you're not gonna stop them. Just stop, bro. You're not gonna stop Disney. And you shouldn't be trying to stop Disney. You guys should come to the negotiation table and talk about what's the moral compass? Disney. We don't like this here. We're a southern state. We're a Bible Belt state. There's some things that we just don't agree with. Now, we obviously need the finances, because you do. DeSantis, if you don't believe that, I'm sorry, I'm not, but you're an idiot. If you don't believe you don't need Disney in Florida or the immigrant workers, you're crazy, man. It's killing Florida's economy. It's gonna, man, I'm telling you. And so with that being said, I think that it's time to come to the negotiation table. Stop your personal vendetta.
Yep.
Get away from trying to fight Disney. You're never gonna win that battle. You're gonna lose. You can't fight the mouse. It's just you won't. Okay. And it's taken away from your constituents. They need jobs. People need jobs, man. They want to make a living. So I could go deeper, but that's my thoughts on that.
And so it got for folks that are watching or rewatching, we're gonna go over our 30 minutes. Just about a couple minutes, just because I feel like this conversation is needed. But you mentioned something in particular about jobs, right? And I think in an article it mentioned that Disney would with this plan they would be providing you, I think 13,000
13,000
jobs,
man.
right? And
Hella
so
jobs.
with so many people, and I know we've talked about this on a different platform as far as like the numbers of unemployment and all that, but the solution base, right? Disney is looking to not only expand because they've seen growth because of now after the pandemic, they're drawing more families into their cruises, the theme parks, etc. And which, when you talk about mental health, like that helps a lot of families. And not only does it help the families there, when you talk about the jobs, being able to supply that amount of jobs to just the people in Florida, that's amazing. And something else I wasn't aware of until I read the article is that I didn't know that Disney provides jobs for generally like 2,000 of the workers in California and move them to Florida, right?
Yes.
Yeah, bro.
Because of the expansion, because of their foresight. And so, yeah, I agree, man. He's an idiot. So, but and so even with that, when in the article it talked about during after the pandemic, 17% year over year increase to $7.7 billion during the most recent quarters, right? And then $5.5 billion are just from the theme park locations. And so, I mean, again, it goes back to,
Alone. That's not
alone.
merchandising.
Yeah.
That's not the people staying over and
Yeah.
patronizing the restaurants, the NBA, the college football. Like, man, how, like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
It-
Well, yeah, I will say this. Why I don't agree with some of the things that Disney do. I
100%.
will say that hats off I salute Disney for standing their ground on this one.
I agree.
Bet. I like it. So
What do you think, Cam?
huh?
What do you think?
I mean, I think he's stupid. I mean, come on, man. Like you say, you don't poke the mouse, bro. I mean, if there are a few companies I think in this country in the world that probably have as much clout as Disney does. When it comes to the type of power that they have, just because of how inundated they are, or not inundated, but like how interconnected they are into everything. I've been to Japan Disneyland, bro. Like,
No, you said it right. It's inundated. It's flooded. Like, there's nothing Mouse doesn't touch.
facts.
So his presidential campaign runs through Mouse. I'm sorry. I just tell the truth, man.
Yep.
There's no way you're becoming the president poking the mouse. I'm just
Yeah, it ain't gonna happen, bro.
Nah.
So I'm interested to see, and I like what you brought that up, Rico, because I was thinking that same thing. Is like first the immigration stuff, and the workers, and then now this. I'm like, bro, you must not even care about making president, and just like you just must have a vendetta against Florida.
No,
like,
I mean he does, right? It's a certain demographic. It's a demographic that a previous president was attending to, and I'm super strong constituent base.
yeah,
I'm not, like I said, I'm not political. I don't like Biden. I don't like, however, whatever. I'm just
Rico
saying,
just don't like
We don't like nobody.
I don't
Oh,
honestly.
stupid.
I think this whole two-party system is broken. It's crap. We need to get rid of it. But anyway,
true.
here's the thing. If you don't win, DeSantis,
Next
you're in
10,
trouble, bro.
next
Your
10,
whole
20 years about to be hard,
Your
bro.
political career is done.
Mhm.
Like, it's done. Like, you're making enemies of people that you just, it's hard to overcome those type of enemies, and it's for the show and the clout.
Yep.
I don't even really believe that you believe the stuff that you're doing is the right thing to do. I mean, I read up some information on him, and he's only third generation here. Like, his family came from Italy, like, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Nobody cares, man. I'm just saying, we are a nation of immigrants.
Right.
We're a nation of second chances. We're a nation of hard workers and opportunity, American dream, and so for that, dude, let people live. Let the company, like I'm with G. I don't agree with certain things and the mentalities and stuff that they have, but it's fair. It's open game, right? It's a fair market, and you can't censor companies. And anytime you censor the number one company in your country, I mean in your state, it is probably in the country pretty close. It's up there with Apple, but I'm just saying that's not smart, man. It's not intelligent for your constituents. They need jobs.
Mhm.
They're not the governor. Everyone's not the governor. Everyone's not trying to be the president. Some people just want to work a 9 to 5 and provide for their family. And
Yeah.
Disney's providing that money to provide for their family. So be
Facts.
cognizant of that, man. That's all I say.
Yeah. I like that comment too that Tiffany kind of posted.
What was it?
Just
Says-
on
yeah.
go ahead.
No, you got it.
Just on dollar and cents, why bankrupt the consumers? Less workers, bad customer service, less people spending money, and then company failures. Spot on.
Work together.
Yeah.
If there's an issue of moral clarity that needs to be lined out, all the big heads, the big tops, Iger and DeSantis, and you guys sit down and square that stuff away, man. There's a way, there's a compromise that you can meet, and it's mutually beneficial for everybody.
For sure.
But this whole back and forth is messy and it's childish. It's really what it is. It's very childish.
Facts. Well, on that note, we are 6 minutes over our time, people. Hey, we appreciate you all for joining us today. Don't forget Financial Friday, but Monday, Money Monday. Okay. We go live on Instagram, working on going live on other channels as well, but you guys can catch us on there. Other than that, we hope you guys have a great weekend, and we will see you guys next week.
Be safe this weekend.
Yes.
Be safe. Peace.